Imagine for a moment that inside you there exists a secret, a hidden power that can not only raise your self-esteem to levels you never thought possible, but also completely transform the way you attract people, experiences, and opportunities into your life. This isn't a superficial trick or an empty promise like those you find everywhere. It's a profound discovery that comes from one of the most brilliant minds in psychology, Carl Jung. He dedicated his life to exploring the darkest and most mysterious corners of the human soul. And what he found changes everything we think we know about ourselves. Today, I want to take you by the hand on this journey, a journey that will not only make you feel more confident and valuable, but will also help you attract only what you truly deserve: authentic relationships, inner peace, and a life that resonates with who you are at your core. Carl Jung believed that each of us carries an entire universe within, an internal world full of possibilities but also shadows we've learned to ignore. Have you ever felt like something inside you is holding you back? Maybe it's that little voice telling you you're not enough, that you don't deserve more than you have, or that constant fear of being rejected. Jung would say that's not a coincidence or a flaw of yours. It's your unconscious speaking to you, sending you signals through emotions, intuitions, and even the people who cross your path. This unconscious isn't an enemy, it's a guide, a teacher that wants you to wake up and claim the worth you already have inside. Think about your life for a second. How many times have you been in a situation where everything seemed fine on the surface, but something inside told you it wasn't right? Maybe it was a relationship that looked perfect to others but left you empty, or a job everyone praised but made you feel trapped. Jung taught us that those feelings aren't meaningless noise. They're messages from the unconscious trying to protect you and guide you towards something better. He called it the process of individuation, the path to becoming your true self, a self that doesn't bend to external expectations or settle for less than it deserves. But here's the first big secret Jung revealed. To raise your self-esteem and attract what you deserve, you first have to look inward, not outward. We live in a world that constantly bombards us with ideas of what we should be: more successful, more attractive, richer, and in that rush to fit in, we end up disconnected from our essence. Jung said that when you lose that connection with yourself, your self-esteem plummets because you're living a life that doesn't belong to you. It's like wearing a costume that doesn't fit, and every day that passes, you feel more uncomfortable in your own skin. So how do we start to change this? Jung gave us a powerful clue. The unconscious doesn't speak in clear words like you and I do now. It expresses itself through symbols, dreams, emotions, and sometimes even that inexplicable feeling in your stomach when something isn't right. Have you ever met someone and though you couldn't explain it, something inside told you to stay away? That's your intuition, a tool Jung considered sacred. Listening to that voice isn't a luxury, it's a necessity if you want to build solid self-esteem and attract relationships and experiences that lift you up instead of draining you. Let's talk about self-esteem for a moment. For Jung, it's not just about feeling good about yourself in a superficial way. It's about recognizing your intrinsic worth, a value that doesn't depend on what others think of you or how many likes you get on a photo. He believed true self-esteem is born when you reconcile with all parts of yourself, even the ones you don't like. This is where one of his most fascinating and challenging concepts comes in: the shadow. According to Jung, the shadow is that part of us we hide from the world. Our flaws, fears, insecurities, and even desires we don't dare admit, not even to ourselves. Maybe it's that anger you feel, but repress because it's not okay to get mad, or that envy that eats at you when you see someone achieving what you want. Most of us spend our lives running from the shadow, pretending it doesn't exist. But Jung warned us of something crucial. The more you ignore it, the more power it has over you. And that power shows up in ways you might have already experienced. Before moving on, I'll take a moment to tell you that my book is now available. It's full of tips and techniques to help you overcome emotional blocks and love yourself more. Find the link in the description and in the pinned comment. Let's continue. Have you ever noticed that certain people seem to get under your skin for no apparent reason? Or that you find yourself repeating the same patterns in your relationships, like you're stuck in an endless cycle? Jung would say that's not bad luck. It's your shadow projecting itself into the outside world. Those people who irritate you aren't the problem. They're mirrors reflecting something inside you that you haven't faced yet. And here's the magic. When you start to integrate your shadow, when you accept those dark parts of yourself, your self-esteem grows because you're no longer at war with yourself. You become whole, authentic, and therefore magnetic. Imagine you're walking through life with a backpack full of rocks. Each rock is something you deny about yourself, a fear, a guilt, and I'm not enough. That backpack weighs you down, exhausts you, and makes you attract relationships and situations that reinforce that load. Now imagine you decide to open that backpack and look inside. It's not comfortable, of course not. But by recognizing those rocks, by saying, yes, this is me too, you start to let them go one by one. And with each rock you release, you feel lighter, more confident, more worthy of the good things life has to offer. Jung taught us that self-esteem isn't built by seeking external approval, but by facing what's inside. And when you do that inner work, something incredible happens. The outside world starts to respond. This isn't magic in the fairy tale sense. It's a principle Jung called synchronicity. He believed that when you align with your true self, the universe seems to conspire in your favor. The right people appear, opportunities open up, and suddenly you realize you're attracting only what you deserve, not what you used to settle for. But let's not fool ourselves. This process takes courage. Jung talked about choosing the road less traveled, that dark and unknown path that confronts you with your deepest fears. Most people prefer to stay in the safe zone, following what they're supposed to do. But if you want to raise your self-esteem and live a life worth living, you have to dare to walk that path. Because in that uncomfortable place, in that darkness, is where you find the light that's always been inside you. Think about the relationships in your life. How many times have you let someone make you feel small? How many times have you let your boundaries be crossed because you didn't want to cause trouble? Jung would say that every time you do that, you're telling your unconscious, I'm not worth enough. And your unconscious listens, responding by attracting more of the same. People who drain you, situations that wear you down. But here's the good news. You can change that message. When you start protecting your energy, saying no when it's necessary, and surrounding yourself only with those who respect and lift you up, you're telling your unconscious, I deserve more. And guess what? The universe starts to give it to you. Maybe right now you're thinking of someone in your life who makes you feel that way. Exhausted, insecure, trapped. Jung would invite you to reflect. What is that person showing you about yourself? What part of your shadow is asking to be seen? It's not about blaming others, but using those experiences as a mirror to grow. Because when you grow, when you value yourself, you stop tolerating what doesn't serve you. And that's the first step to attracting what you do deserve: love, respect, abundance. Now that we've explored how Jung's unconscious and shadow are key to understanding who we really are, I want to take you one step further. Because it's not enough to look inside and recognize those hidden parts. The real power lies in what you do with them. Jung didn't just want us to discover our shadows, he wanted us to integrate them. Imagine you're standing in front of a mirror, but it's not an ordinary mirror. This mirror shows you everything: your fears, your doubts, your wounds, but also your strength, your light, your potential. What would you do if you could see all of that at once? Jung would say that's the moment you start to transform. Integrating the shadow isn't easy, I admit. It's an act of courage that requires facing things you'd rather avoid. Maybe it's that insecurity that makes you doubt your abilities, or that anger you hold back because you don't want to seem like a bad person. But here's the twist Jung gave us. Those parts you reject aren't flaws. They're pure energy waiting to be redirected. Imagine your anger, instead of being something you're ashamed of, becoming the fuel that drives you to set boundaries and defend your worth. Or your fear, instead of paralyzing you, turning into a signal that guides you toward what really matters. When you start seeing your shadow as a teacher instead of an enemy, your self-esteem doesn't just grow, it becomes unbreakable. Why is this so important? Because your self-esteem is the foundation of everything you attract into your life. Jung believed the outside world is a reflection of your inner world, a concept he called projection. If inside you feel you don't deserve love, respect, or success, you'll keep attracting people and situations that confirm that belief. But when you change that internal narrative, when you decide you're worthy of the best, the universe starts rearranging itself around you. It's like giving your unconscious a new instruction. I only accept what lifts me up. And believe me, your unconscious listens. Let's talk about relationships, because that's where this secret from Jung becomes most evident. Have you ever been with someone who made you feel less than you are? Maybe they didn't say it with words, but their actions left you with that empty feeling, like you had to constantly strive to be enough. Jung would say that relationship isn't an accident. It's a projection of something you haven't resolved within yourself. Maybe it's a part of your shadow that believes you need others' approval to be worthy. But here's the liberating truth. You don't need anyone to complete you. You're already whole. And when you integrate that idea, when you realize your worth doesn't depend on anyone else, you start attracting people who see you for who you really are, not what they want you to be. Think of it like a deep clean of your life. Imagine you're going through a closet full of old clothes. There are pieces that are too small, others that are worn out, and some you don't even like but keep just in case. Now apply that to the relationships and situations in your life. How many times have you held on to people who diminish you just because you fear the void they'd leave if they were gone? Jung invites us to let go, not from a place of defeat, but from a place of power. Because when you release what doesn't resonate with you, you create space for what does. And that space doesn't stay empty for long. It fills with people and experiences that reflect your new self-esteem. This is where another fascinating concept from Jung comes in: synchronicity. He described it as those meaningful coincidences that seem too perfect to be random. Have you ever let go of something toxic in your life and suddenly an unexpected opportunity appears? Or maybe you meet someone who comes at just the right moment, as if the universe is rewarding your courage. Jung said this isn't luck, it's the result of aligning with your true self. When you raise your self-esteem and dare to live from your authenticity, the outside world starts to synchronize with that energy. It's like the universe saying, finally, you're ready to receive what you deserve. But I won't lie to you. This path has its challenges. There will be moments when you doubt yourself, when the fear of change makes you want to turn back. Jung knew this well. He said there's no awakening of consciousness without pain. That pain might come as tough goodbyes, facing uncomfortable truths, or letting go of beliefs you've carried for years. But that pain isn't a punishment, it's a purification process. It's like cleaning a wound. It hurts at first, but it's necessary to heal. And when it heals, what's left is a stronger, more confident, more worthy version of you. I want you to imagine your life as a garden. Right now, there might be weeds growing, relationships that drain you, thoughts that limit you, habits that keep you stuck. But you have the power to pull out those weeds and plant something new. Every time you choose to value yourself, every time you say no to what hurts you and yes to what nourishes you, you're planting seeds of self-esteem. And in time, that garden blooms. You attract people who water you with love and respect, opportunities that make you shine, and an inner peace that doesn't depend on anything external. Jung also gave us a practical tool for this process: reflection. He believed knowing yourself doesn't happen by magic. It takes time, attention, and honesty. So I invite you to do this with me now. Think of a situation in your life that's weighing you down. Maybe it's a relationship, a job, or even a dream you've abandoned. Ask yourself, what is this showing me about myself? What part of my shadow is asking to be seen? And what would happen if I dared to let go of what doesn't serve me? You don't need to answer out loud. Just let it resonate in your mind, because those questions are the start of something powerful. Sometimes the signals from the unconscious don't come like thunder. They can be subtle, like a spark of curiosity towards something new. Maybe lately you felt a desire to explore something different, a hobby, a place, an idea. Jung would say that's not a coincidence. It's your unconscious opening a door to your authenticity. But to step through that door, you have to trust yourself. You have to believe you deserve more than a mediocre life, more than relationships that dim you, more than dreams left in a drawer. And here's the climax of this secret. When you live from your authenticity, when you let yourself be who you really are, without masks or excuses. You become a magnet for what you deserve. Jung called it individuation, the process of becoming your fullest self. It's not about being perfect. It's about being real. Because the people who deserve to be in your life don't want a fake version of you. They want your light, your truth, your essence. And the opportunities you deserve don't come when you hide. They come when you dare to shine. So what does this mean for you today? It means you have a choice. You can keep carrying that backpack full of rocks, tolerating what diminishes you, settling for less than your worth. Or you can decide enough is enough. You can start listening to your intuition, facing your shadow, and building a self-esteem that not only holds you up, but lifts you higher. And when you do, you'll see how the universe responds. The right people appear, paths open up, and you realize you always had the power to attract what you deserve. I want you to reflect on this before we finish. What are you willing to let go of to make room for what you really want? What part of you have you been holding back that deserves to be set free? Because Jung's secret isn't just a theory, it's an invitation to live differently, a life where your self-esteem isn't negotiable, where you only accept what honors you, and where every day reflects your truth. If this has touched something in you, I invite you to be part of this movement. Share this video with someone who needs this message, someone who's also ready to raise their self-esteem and attract what they deserve. Leave a comment below and tell me, what are you letting go of today? What step are you taking to align with your truth? Your words don't just inspire me, they inspire this whole community growing with you. Subscribe if you haven't yet, turn on the bell, and let's continue this transformation journey together. Because the world needs more authentic, courageous people like you. Thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next video. The change starts with you.